Yo, what's up, RJL? I figured I'd put together a quick project to show you how to do this 3D UI stuff. Um, uh, really, you can. It's not just for 3D UI. You can do this for a lot of things. The viewport stuff that I'm going to show you, but the 3D UI is a really good example of it. So, just to kind of go over this little test project, it's really just a basic scene. Um, with world environment and the light. We have a floor. I have some boxes scattered around so we can see ourselves moving, when we play. And then I have this player, which is just, I'm literally just using the built-in character controller script. I haven't changed this code at all. Um, very basic. And so then I have the camera as a child of the player. This does not have to be a child of the player. You could have your scene set up however you want. The most important thing, I'll actually show you in a minute. So, yeah, we have this very basic scene. I'll go ahead and play it. And you can see I can just move around. This is just to show you the kind of difference between the actual scene and the UI. So we have that going. What I'm gonna do now is quickly create. I'm just gonna make a new 3D scene. I'll call this I don't know, UI 3D. I usually call this HUD, you know, but I'll just call it UI 3D for right now. I'm gonna go ahead and save that scene. Just go ahead and make a new folder, UI 3D. Go ahead and save it. So the way to think of this is like I was saying, think of it as in layers, right? So if you go to any 3D object, like for example one of these boxes, I'm sure you're familiar with the collision layers, and you're probably familiar with the visual layers as well, right? These just aren't used as much. But you can see this box is on visual layer 1. And if we go to look at the camera really quick, when you create a brand new camera, the camera, underneath the call mask, it's not really shown, but or I guess it's just kind of written differently, I guess, than visual layer. But this call mask is for visual layers, so it's just like the collision stuff. This camera can see everything on all layers, right? So we're just gonna leave that like that for now. So objects can be on different visual layers. So what you can do is you can create a new viewport, sub-viewport. However, yeah, so sub-viewport isolates a rectangular region of a scene to be displayed independently, right? Um, Technically, behind the scenes, there is a viewport above your main scene or your like starting scene, right? But anyways, the issue we come to is the sub viewport needs a container, so to actually display it on the screen. So we'll first create this sub viewport container. This is the UI element needed to actually display what the viewport sees, right? So we create that, and it tells us we need a sub viewport. It doesn't have a sub viewport as a child, so it can't display its content. So go ahead and create the sub viewport. And sub viewports are meant to display what a camera sees, right? And so the way that they have this set up is we give it a camera child, right? So now we can see the sub viewport can see what this camera sees. Now there's a little bit of setup here. First, we need to make sure this UI element, this control node, stretch it to fit the whole screen. Now you'll notice, however, that the actual rendering part of it doesn't fit the whole screen. I don't know why it's like this, but what you have to do is you have to go here into sub viewport. Well, I know why it's like that, but at the same time, it's kind of confusing. You just got to go into sub viewport, Make sure that this is the same as your window size. So I have 1280 by 720. Also, while you're here, go ahead and set your stretch mode under display window. Set the stretch mode to viewport. I keep it on keep, but you can, keep width or height or whatever. But I'm pretty sure this is important, but I honestly I didn't test it, but I'm pretty sure this is important. So set this to viewport, set your viewport width and height to whatever, but then make sure we set the sub viewport of our 3D UI to that same resolution. Okay? And then the last thing here is transparent BG. Even though this scene has no well, this scene has no environment, right? Like our main scene. So this scene, the like the horizon and the sky that we're seeing here, when you run the game, this isn't going to be visible because this scene, well, actually, I guess it would. I tell you what, I'm going to test this, but I want to test this, but this transparent BG, check that. You don't want the UI to display the background, right? And if this handle input locally is checked, uncheck it, make sure it's disabled. The same as here on under render target, update mode, make sure this is set to always. Okay, so we've set the resolution of the viewport. We've made sure that the viewport container it stretches to the screen. Now the last thing to do is here under the camera, we want this camera to only render UI elements. So you can choose a layer for your UI. Let's just say I choose layer 20. Anything that is on layer 20, visual layer 20, is going to be my UI. There might be something else here. No, you mess with the FOV and everything. The FOV of this scene of this camera does not necessarily have to be the same FOV as your main camera. Also make sure we go back to our main camera and disable layer 20 on the visual, on the cull mask. We don't want our main camera to see anything that is on the UI layer, right? And you'll see why this is important in a second. Excuse me. Okay, so that's the setup. All we have to do now, I'm just gonna add a CSG box here. So we can have something to see, right? We'll pull the camera back. Now notice the camera, we have this view. Actually, let's just go ahead and do this. I'm gonna do two viewports, view two viewports. Select the camera, preview the camera so we can see what the camera sees up here. I'm going to, notice we don't see the box. That's because we need to make sure that this box is on layer 20 and not on layer 1 on visual, right? So there we can see it. If I go ahead and run this, oh, I already had it ran, okay. If I go ahead and run this, oh, you know what? I'm a dummy. Here we go. Make sure you add the box, right? Make sure you set its visual layer to 20, and then go back into the main scene, and we're going to instance our UI 3D scene. I'm pretty sure ordering matters here, but we'll test that too. So there we go. Now you can see we're rendering our 3D scene, our 3D UI scene, on top of our main scene, right? Like I said, I'm pretty sure ordering matters, but I could be wrong. So I'm just gonna have our 3D scene, our 3D UI scene, above our main camera, and that does not matter. Do I have this set as main camera? It's current? No. I'm not sure. But either way, that's that. Let me test this other thing really quick. If we go into the 3D scene, remember I was talking about the viewport transparent BG. if we do that, what is it going to look like? Okay, there we go. So you definitely want to have that 3D uh, transparent BG checked on the viewport of the 3D scene, of the 3D UI scene. Okay, so there's that. Now we can go into like this 3D UI scene. Let's say, you know, this is a health bar or something, right? Maybe it's, so you position it, right? You scale it, whatever. I'll actually show you. I think I have, so that, either way, that's the setup. That's literally all you got to do. And then all your logic is the same as normal UI, right? You'll probably want this scene to pick up on or to listen to signals, either through a signal bus or directly through from objects, whatever, like your player. When it receives a player takes damage, you send that to your health bar or whatever, right? So that's it. And then if I show you over here, this is what I did for Scuzz, that like car game. If you notice, if we go over here back to this, notice that box is here. We go to this CSG box. I tell you what, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's give it animation player. Let's give it a new animation. Call it spin. And then take the 3D box and what am I looking for? Transform. Let's key it there. Say like over 5 seconds, we want it to rotate 360 degrees. Oops. Set that at 5 seconds. There we go. Loop, autoplay. There we go. And then let's give it a material really quick. It's probably what I should have done, actually. Because we're not going to be able to see the rotation in the scene. Either way, if we go back here, actually notice I didn't change the position of it, did I? I might have, like a, like a dumbass. What did I do here? I must have changed. Oh, I did. I remember it because I put it in the side of the screen, right? Yeah, let's do that. We put that there. Notice we see this in this scene, but when we go and play it, it's not there in the 3D scene because our main camera can't see that, right? It's not set to see the UI layer. And you can give this scene, by the way, you can give this scene an environment and lighting and stuff. Just make sure everything's under the sub viewport, right? And then it's also important for things like lights. Like let's give it an omni light or something. This works for all lights. Make sure that this light is set on layer 20 and not on layer 1. So anything in this scene would be on like layer 20 or whatever your UI scene is. So that would be important to keep in mind. Everything in this that is a visual object, so lights or meshes, anything like that, make sure it's on layer 20. Same with particle systems as well. Anything that has a visual instance 3D or is a visual instance 3D has to be on layer 20 or your UI layer at least. And you'll still see it in this scene, like from this view, but it won't it's technically that camera. Yeah, this is the UI camera, right? So the two scenes kind of exist on top of each other. You can move this out of the way, by the way. This 3D UI scene, you can move it down. I don't know why. I don't know why these aren't updating. It's kind of odd. Oh, maybe because I'm running? By the way, that works. I don't quite understand why this happened. So if you figure that out, please let me know. But you should be able to like position this wherever you want. You can like put it under the floor or whatever just to keep it out of the way. But like I was trying to show, I'm sorry I'm all over the place. But what I've done for like UI stuff is like made my own UI bar scene, right? And it looks kind of funky, but really this is just a cube it's just a health bar, right? But it's 3D. Um, so yeah. Anyways, I hope that helped. If you have any other questions, let me know. Today's my day off, so I should be around. Um, yeah, take it easy. Peace.